When I was 4, that's when my dad first started taking heroin. It was on a work trip to London when one of his mates offered him a hit. He took it, and from that day he was hooked.
At the age of 7 or 8, I went into something that left me with trauma and anxiety. This caused me to be misbehaved in school. Students and teachers used to say that I'm a naughty child. I was scared and anxious. I didn't want to be there.
My mental health is in between at the minute. I have good days and bad days. My bad days can be really bad, which leads to me pulling my hair out. When I'm stressed or having a down day, my hands just naturally go to my hair and I pull from the roots, which makes me have bald patches.
How was I supposed to process the fact my dad loved something more than me, that I was no longer the apple of his eye? How was any child supposed to deal with that?
And for me, talking on the subject of depression, for me, it's a bit different compared to sadness. Sadness is like an emotion that comes and goes. Depression isn't something that just goes away. It sits and kills you and feels like it just won't end. And for people I know, and myself, with poor mental health, it means we can't socialise, we can't eat, we have continuous just sadness, just no effort, no motivation to do anything, struggle to get out of bed, and just do basic life tasks.
For me, mental health is everything. I'm quite literally surrounded by not just my own, but other people's mental health issues all the time. And even though that's the case, I've never seen an end or conclusion to these problems. They seem to just get swept under the rug constantly. Not just by society, but by friends, family, and even themselves.
And in general, I think the media, and I say media, like social media and stuff, plays a big part in how people see themselves and how they act, and it changes how others treat them.
The role media plays in mental health, in my opinion, is reinforcing the stigma that men can't talk.
My influencer for this subject is Paddy the Baddy. He is a UFC/MMA fighter. After his UFC fight, he spoke about men's mental health awareness. I think he did it to show what men are going through, and it felt good hearing him talk about it.
Another thing that doesn't really help people's mental health at the moment is social media. People are held to a very high standard because of all the supermodels these days, so therefore people are constantly worrying about how they look, how they act, how they should be. This standard shouldn't be a thing because everyone is special in their own way, and someone will love them for how they are, and they shouldn't have to change dramatically to be in a relationship unless the change is good.
People also use social media to get attention for the smallest things, which dilutes the idea of mental health and what it's supposed to be. Mental health being people's emotional, psychological and social well-being.
I've watched the people around me crumble and turn to self-destructive forms of dealing with it. Self-harm, alcohol, drugs, even suicide attempts, becoming shells of who they used to be.
Suicide is a big thing in it, which it is, but it also isn't talked about enough, but can be glamorised by people, which goes both ways.
Mental health is talked about more than in the past, which is great. However, I think some people still have the old perspective of mental health and look at it as something not real.
Addiction isn't fun. It's not something to be taken lightly or watered down. Being an addict isn't a silly word to be used to describe how much you love shopping or chocolate or energy drinks. It's not a term for something you love, because the reality is, in my experience, addicts don't wake up each morning and take their poison just because they love it or they enjoy it.
Most people suffer in silence because they don't want to push their problems onto people, and that's a thing that we don't want to happen because it builds up and bottles up and makes everything worse when they do eventually crack.
I'm going to talk about cams because it's a very touchy subject for some people. For some people in this service are great, others not so great. They'll sit and tell you that, go have a cup of tea and stuff, even though you sat there and just told them you better do some heinous things to yourself. And I think in general, just people have to be more supportive. And young people just in general believe that it's not okay to talk. When it is, it's just such a big thing around it, especially with men. And someone who listens might not understand, but talking at least can help, even if they don't understand it.
I'm a big believer in fulfillment over medication. What I mean by this is, instead of looking for medication for help, try and chase fulfillment in your life. Find something you're passionate about and go all in.
Or they could put all the emotions they're experiencing into something else, something creative, just so that they don't suffer in silence. because something as simple as going out with their mates could help improve their mental health so much.
My personal experience with creativity is when my granddad died, it made me go very into science, and it made me love it more because he was a nuclear scientist. And I show my creativity through experiments and stuff. Science is all about experimenting, and that is the most creative way in the world to possibly show something.
I'm diagnosed with PTSD, so my thoughts are constantly racing around and on high alert. Mindfulness and creativity helps quiet those thoughts and makes me feel more relaxed. I feel like having a routine helps you know what you're doing, and if you stick to the same routine every day for weeks or months, you get used to it and won't want to change. I have multiple coping strategies, like having a shower or sleeping 20 plus hours a day. It's unhealthy, but it's what works for me. I think it would be lovely to have more creative community projects in Portsmouth to bring people together and help others express themselves.
What you can do to support yourself is eat healthy, do what you enjoy, and find ways to channel that energy into something creative.
For people, there's many different ways of escape. For me, it's playing games on like my Xbox. It just takes away stuff in your head for a little while, even if it's for that split second. It's just a relief, I guess. It's not much, but it helps.
For solutions to mental health problems and whatnot, I think there's a lot of ways that you can help, and I believe that all we need to do sometimes is just be civil or say hello to someone when they look upset or are genuinely being upset.
It isn't as easy as just saying it's going to be okay and give them a pat on the back and a hug. That isn't going to fix it all, and because in the end it takes time and support and experience and like love.
The best way to support others who are struggling with mental health is by not saying you're there for them, but to show it to them. For an example, leave someone a nice message to wake up, or even play games together. Actions are bigger than words.
It's important to be there for people, to talk, listen, just check up on them every once in a while. If you haven't heard anything from like a friend, family member, just sit and ask, hey, what's up? Are you good?
Maybe if the world was a little more open-minded, we could all help those that need it the most, rather than jumping to conclusions and shutting them down. I don't think you should judge how or why someone has ended up in the situation they're in just because you don't understand it.
We need to speak up and have our voices heard. In the ideal world, we need more help knowing what the options are to help people with specific needs, because we are all individuals and not all the same. My message is it's okay to feel how you feel, but please don't lock yourself away from the world. Reach out and create the life you want to live.
My advice for others is that in the end, it's not all going to be like this, your life. It may just seem like it at this time, but from my experience personally, it feels like it won't end, but it does get better.